subscribe.
I'm the angry ops guy, hanging by a thread, living on Prozac, the meds from my head, jaded and burned out, ADHD and overdrive, manage your life, running on a wire, I love it, I hate it, I'm past repair, the angry ops guy, just another day.
We're back on the Angry Ops Guy podcast, and Ops Mike here, and we're recording on a Friday afternoon, which is a little bit different, but what a great way to end an exhausting work week. And when I say what a great way to end it, I have another guest, and I've been waiting for this guest to accept my invitation, even though I only invited him a couple of weeks ago. But I finally have the governor of the state of Virginia. He owns the largest castle on the largest peak of the Virginia mountains. He is the top dog in WSI in the sense of the leaderboard, and he is also someone that I can truthfully call my friend. I have Don Juan Neal Lappe here today with me, and I cannot believe someone of your character and your success would come on and shoot the shit with me.
Well, Mike, you're a friend, man. You're a friend, and I love you. And I just want to do whatever I can to support you and the rest of the world.
Well, that's not true because I literally yelled at you in an email and said, you better come on. Otherwise, I'm going to slaughter you in a mastermind. You said, okay, I'll be on.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
But I'm so glad to have you here because, many people in the WSI network obviously know the name Neal Lappe. And let's just give some context because there are some great new WSI people that do listen. I'm very grateful for that. But if you don't know Neal Lappe, Neal is a staple of WSI. He is one of the old guard of WSI. And what I mean that with respect is he's been around now with his agency. So his agency has historically been known as WebStrategies. And he just actually told me, and I didn't know this, they just recently gone through a rebranding exercise. Neal, you've had WebStrategies as the name of your WSI franchise now for 22 years. Let's just start there really quickly because I think it'll sound better coming from you. What was the purpose of, changing the name, and what is the name, and why did you feel with your, obviously your business partner, Chris Leone, your powerhouse there, it was the right time to change and evolve your agency?
Okay, great question, Mike. Well, first of all, the new name is Gear with two E's, Gear. And that's an acronym for our core values: growth,
Oh.
essentialism, empathy, accountability, and doing what's right for everybody involved, customers and employees and partners, etc. So that's what Gear is. What led to the change is we felt that our brand was a bit dated, and we wanted to. We've evolved from a digital marketing company to more of a marketing tech company. Okay, so we wanted to make sure our brand was leading edge, communicated that we're here for the future, and we're more technologically sound than we ever were before, and we can bring technology solutions to our marketplace. And so that's what we wanted our brand to communicate.
So much to unpack there and very interesting. And I would have never thought that the name, because even when you said it to me right before we started here, I was like, that's an interesting name because it doesn't sound just like a normal technology agency marketing name, but how you've tied it to those core values is very interesting. And I think neat in a way to have some uniqueness. So with that being said, and again, I'm speaking more about how I understand you because I've known you a long time. I've known you almost my entire career with WSI. Definitely more in the last, let's say, in fairness, 10 to 12 years than the
Yeah.
first 5 when I was just a grunt working in ops in the back. But definitely coming to more WSI events, you start to know who Neal Lappe is very quick. So obviously, Neal, with that being said, you guys I want to talk a little bit about your agency, if you don't mind. Your agency is the pinnacle, and what I mean by that is we look up to you because you are the top dog. And I'm not trying to pad your ego or bravado, but you have built respectfully one, if not the most successful WSI franchise in the sort of sense of growth, revenue, net profitability, and allowing yourself and your family, being that you've been doing this now 22 years, you're starting to exit that, and you've built something very sustainable and very foundationally strong to allow you and your family to be comfortable in your pending retirement whenever you lose the flair to want to do this technology game, but also setting up your vast team and your business partner Chris for success. Um, so if I was to ask you, Neal, what what was one of the biggest deciding factors that allowed you to kind of put your growth trajectory on this kind of catalyst lightning rod that it's been over the last, let's just say 10 years. I'm just using it as an average, but you've had your ebbs and struggles like every agency getting off the ground, but you've really hit your stride. And we're not talking, $100,000 growth. We're not even talking $500,000 growth. We're talking very, very positive growth percentages of scaling into a multi-million dollar gross revenue agency that can support customer base across the entire United States as a country.
Yeah.
So I would love just to hear in your story, like, what was that moment for you where you're like, I've got to make a change. I've got this vision that I want to, focus on that's going to take us away from everybody else that's doing the same thing. Talk to me. Well, I'd love to hear that because I don't think I've ever asked you that as fluidly as I just tried to do.
Well, it's a great question, Mike, and obviously a complex one. First of all, there was never a light bulb moment. There were some mini bulb moments, some strategic shift moments that occurred, but no single light bulb moment. Um, First of all, we've always, I guess, from my beginning, we always had high aspirations. I mean, I came out of the corporate world, paid very well, with a lot of responsibility, and I wanted to make this agency as big as I could, as fast as I could. Okay. So, what led what's led to our most recent growth is really we got into we, the first decision um, was back about I'd say about 10 years ago when we decided that we needed to be special, that we needed to have a competitive advantage. We found the marketplace starting to commoditize and get competitive. And one of the things that happened was we had the largest gym franchise in the state of Virginia, and they came to us one day and they said they had been with us for 5 years or so. They said, "We're going to stop with you because we're going to go to work with a marketing agency that specializes in gym franchises." Okay, we thought, "Wow, that's interesting." So if that's a threat for any customer we have, where the specialist comes in and unseats us, then that's a threat. So what are we going to be special in? What's going to be our competitive differentiation? So we decided back, 2016, 2017, that we were going to start to specialize in verticals. And we chose a couple of verticals based upon their current customer base. Um, and that started to work. And about 2 years after that, we decided all our sales and all our marketing efforts are going to be directed at this one vertical. So we went all in with the chips. That was a huge strategic positive decision. And then once we got into that niche, we started to understand our customer base far better than we understood any customer base because we were, if you will, the brain surgeons for uh, the retail financial services space, credit unions, community banks. Okay. And once we got in there, We always, always, always strive to have a competitive differentiation. Because if you don't have a competitive differentiation, you shouldn't compete. So we constantly strove to find something that would make us unique, make us special, make us the brain surgeons for those vertical industries. And we started to innovate. And at one point, and then we made a decision to go all in with HubSpot, and we became very, very good at HubSpot. And then we identified the opportunity to take it to a next step, and we made a decision to get into data integration, where we're pulling all the data in from all these disparate loan application systems, core banking systems, um, uh, loan origination, and we pulled all that data into HubSpot. So HubSpot becomes the central source of marketing genius for these organizations. And we were the first in the industry to do that.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Really?
So that whole thing gave us such a significant, powerful competitive differentiation that fueled our ability to attract new customers and to bring more value to existing customers. So those are the things that really led to significant growth over the past, I'm going to say, 5 to 7 years.
Now, and again, you've been so, to kind of bring it back to the WSI network as well, you've been so kind in the sense of education workshops and training, if you will, to share your story and share some of the process you did. Because again, small to medium sized businesses or franchise agencies, they are looking to figure out how to sustain. They're looking how to get predictable recurring income streams, and like I've said on many podcasts with the guests, especially here in season two, when we're shooting the shit, is um, the biggest element we see is we're in a commodity centric business. I'm talking digital marketing or even tech. It's very commodity centric. So like you've said, and you've been saying this for again years, we're not even talking like post COVID and this is an evolution of what we got to do. You adopted, kind of verticalization specialty, a focus of what you're going to go get and what you can facilitate again, almost a decade ago. And you haven't slowed down. So the
Yeah.
proof is in the pudding that it was the right way to go. A lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of mistakes, clearly. And that's what anything with trying to grow is you gotta learn and through pain, but it has been sustainable for you. And you've been a big advocate for because again, for people that don't know Neal, which is nobody in the entire North America, literally Don Juan Lappe, it is is that Neal does so much training and giving his time to help the little engines that are just trying to figure out how to do this because you want people to succeed and this is the way you succeeded and you could have just said no, this is my IP, screw yourself, and I know I'm going to sit here on my bricks of money and I don't care, but you actually want to give back by telling people like this is a story that you can replicate no matter whether you're a $50,000 a year agency or you're a $5 million a year agency, because what you're really talking about is you established your focus.
Yeah, we
That was
did
the
it.
big thing because otherwise you're taking punches from all different things, you're selling different things, but you're not good at anything. And that's something you've been mentoring me on through the last 5 years of being more intimate with you in the sense of mastermind groups is that you've got to be good at something, not everything, because that's how you stand out from everybody else that says, well, I do SEO, I do PPC, I do web development, and then you're just bartering price. But you've turned yourself in your company into truly a specialty focused brand that also demands higher value in the sense of retainers, opportunity, and the market you can go and inject yourself in, where others would die immediately in a prospecting meeting or even in a proposal meeting because that type of clientele will know right away how to sniff garbage and vanity metrics and frankly bullshit
Yeah.
that many salespeople will do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, Mike, I want to acknowledge the fact that you are a significant giver as well. I mean, the time, the time you invested to get this podcast started and the time you put into it all the time, that's all meant to share with others positive stories that hopefully educate and inspire. So, Mike, you get a lot of credit for your giving back as well. And I thank you for that. Okay. Even though you are constantly with me, respectfully disrespectful.
Okay, put a pin in it for a minute because I want you to go back to talking about your real focus and so forth. But let's clarify what that is. That's a big laugh between me and Neal. So everybody knows Neal facilitates so much for WSI. It's not even funny. Like this man, has endless hours in his internal battery to be on screen. I swear to God. So he runs multiple mastermind groups where he moderates, facilitates as the leader to keep everybody aligned and moving. And mastermind groups are meant to have intimate, vulnerable conversations about how we help each other. And that's really become a great thing in the WSI network over the last couple of years is we got multiple mastermind groups and Neal's in like literally every one of them. But with that being said, Neal is Neal, 20 plus year vet, the top dog. And this fat asshole over here, just any chance I can, I just go at him because that's the way I kind of, in my weird way with people, I express I love him. Same with Jack. I make fun of Jack. He makes fun of me, but he knows I love him. I wouldn't say what I say to Jack to you in any capacity, but I will go at you with any moment because I want to make you laugh because you're under pressure all the time. You're reading, reacting 8 people on tiles. You're trying to give value. You are somebody everybody's looking for. And I'm just like, hey, let me just toss a hand grenade in the middle of your session. And you just put your head down sometimes. You're like, Mike. So Neal said to me one day, and I said, Neal, sir, that I love you immensely. And, I respect you. He said, Mike, I know you're respectfully disrespectful. And that's my moniker with Neal. So
Yeah, you
I
got it.
don't know if that's a good thing.
It's
I
a
don't
good
know if it's a
thing.
bad thing, but it's my thing.
It's a good thing, Mike, because we love each other and we respect each other, and we can get into each other's stuff.
And
Okay?
that's how we have fun because the job's hard enough as it
Oh my
is.
God, yes.
And on top of that is what's like last week we're on a mastermind together and Neal always does at the end of it. And he says, guys, rate the meeting. And he's like, and tell me, what we could do to improve the next one. And everybody's like, it was a great meeting. I think we should focus on this and that. He's like, Mike, what about you? And I'm like, well, Neal, if you would exit this mastermind group, then we would have better meetings. Like, who
Exactly.
does that to someone of your success and respect? But that's me.
That's right. We know each other. And that's safe ground. Always, 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 always. So
So getting back to you though, and just what I was talking to say about the specialty angle, I just would love from yours because I'm reflecting on what I know about you and what I have watched and what you've presented on stage at convention, in Top Gun initiatives and masterminds. But did I did I highlight really kind of the key elements as to how you differentiated yourself to be like that? I think that keyword is a specialist.
yeah, I think you did. And and look, I think you might have mentioned it before. If we're marketing to everybody, we are marketing to nobody. And that doesn't just apply to us internally, but it applies to our customers as well. Because, the problem is if we're trying to capture everybody, then we're special to nobody. And our messaging and our brand and what we say is commoditized unless we're able to be like that brain surgeon and get in there and be the specialist and do our work. One of the other things, Mike, that happened that I failed to mention to you is back in the day when I was doing most of the selling, I'd be out there and I'd get a plumber one day and I'd get a professional services firm the next day. And then the third day, I'd get maybe a counseling service. And the people that were responsible for fulfilling the promises I was making, they were going crazy because it's like, okay, I don't know anything about this kind of business. What do you want me to do? And the likelihood of their success was marginalized because every new project was a new kind of business. And so we also said, well, you know what? we could probably be much better at what we do, more productive at what we do, if every new client we brought in here was similar. We know their business almost as good as they do. We know what works and what doesn't work. And that enabled us to carve down the different kind of marketing activities that we provide. So we get better at what we do and we get better at who we work with. And it's that is the single most important strategic decision we made in the last 10 years.
Interesting. Now, on that concept of verticalization or niche focus,
Yeah,
and again, that's been your breadwinning focus for a long time. Um, and I've had some very heated conversations with you about that, because it's not that I have a difference of opinion, but also our regionality is different
sure.
and other things. So I'm going to change the question because I don't want this to be disrespectful. It's not, because there's many that have adopted your similar approach and are showing tremendous success. We had Eric Cook on, and even though Eric's
Mhm.
always been in the banking, he's another model of staying within your lane
Yeah.
and just being that specialist. And look what Eric's doing with speaking engagements now based on his financial knowledge. It's just
Mhm.
he's taken it to the moon and back. Again, go listen to those episodes if you really want to see a
Yeah.
powerhouse in the sense of knowledge in a niche. But what I want to ask you is, Neil, is when you get into verticalization or niche marketing like that, where you've got a lot of eggs in a basket. So, for people that don't know, one of Neil's primary niches is credit unions.
Yeah.
That's where they really specialize their execution. But like things like COVID, where industries shut down, industries don't need leads because there's a surplus of people not spending externally, and they're going to like for example, in businesses that focused on trade lead generation. I'm talking when business agencies,
Yeah.
um, trades didn't need leads through COVID and post COVID because there was a surplus of money because people were sitting at home not doing anything. And they said, well, let's renovate the bathroom, the kitchens, and whatever. And it was a heyday, but
Yes.
that's not good for marketers.
Right. Right.
So how do you how do you protect, whether it's your agency or your advice to anybody else trying to focus on niche-based focus, so that if a crisis like that, whether it's a pandemic in the sense of health, it's economic repercussions where something's happened, like we're going through a world now where tariffs are harming major industries and so forth. How do you protect and have some redundancy to ensure that if shit hits the fan, that you're not going like we just got crippled in the matter of a day, a month, an hour, while still not going back into we're going to take everything. I would
Yeah.
love to know that from you because I've never asked that question in that way, but I think that's an important thing, and I wonder if you've reflected on that now as far along as you've been in.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a great question, Mike. And two things come to mind here. One is we built our business on um, a lot of customers paying us a moderate amount of money. Can we put it that way? For example, our biggest customer represents less than 4% of gross revenue. Okay. So that's a bit of an insulation for us. If we lose a couple, it's not going to kill us. Okay. We don't want to lose them, of course, but if we lose a couple, that's not going to kill us. That's the one thing. Now, the downside of that is we have a lot of customers we've got to deal with, you know, and a lot of diversity. But being in the niche enables us to not go crazy, but rather continue to focus on certain things. Right. That's the one thing. The second thing we've done is we've made sure our overhead burden, our overhead expenses are minimized. So we're largely a variable cost business, just like most of us are in WSI. We're a variable cost business. So while we love our people and we don't want to let any of them go, if the shit hits the fan, as you say, we're somewhat insulated on the revenue side because none of our customers are too big. And we are also somewhat insulated on the expense side because we don't have much fixed cost. So, so that gives us some solace. Now, admittedly, we are in a bit of a risky situation because we're significantly focused on kind of a single financial services business. The good thing about the financial services business is everybody has money, needs money. So it's not like COVID was a boom for us. COVID was a big growth period for us.
Was
Y-
it?
Oh yeah, it was huge. We grew from 2020 to 20 from 21 to 20. We grew 39% revenue.
Wow.
And the following year it was over 30%. Okay. So COVID was a significant boom for us. Um, I have to say we got a bit lucky choosing the right verticals because to some degree they are recession proof. Not totally. Nothing's totally recession, but they are a bit recession proof because people are still managing their money.
And Neil, when you were building that plan too, just on that point, I love that comment about like recession proof per se. But with that being said, when you were really saying, okay, we got to focus and we're going to go this way, why was it why was it credit unions? Were you smart enough back then to identify that, for example, credit unions could survive a potential recession and whatever else, or is that just the luck factor? Like, why was it credit unions? Like, were you were you strategically well off enough in your planning to identify that back then, or is that was that a it, ju- I'm fumbling it, but you know what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say? Like,
I get it. Yeah,
I would just love that because credit unions is not the first niche that I would pick. So I would say in my head as an assumption, if I didn't know you, he either comes from that type of background, he had people on the team that had that background, or whatever else. But to your point, like I love that it's like you said, it is theoretically like recession proof because it doesn't matter where we are in life in the world, people are going to need access to money.
yeah,
So again, it's not going to be pulled away from us like unfortunately a t-shirt storefront that needs consumer traffic to come in just to sell a
yeah,
product.
yeah. Well, first of all, we had four credit unions as clients. Okay, existing clients, and we were doing a good job for them. We noticed while dealing with them that they weren't the most sophisticated business model. Okay, so we knew that there was opportunity long term um, to improve their marketing abilities and to compete with the banking side of the financial services world. Okay. So in a way, they were kind of I don't know, the second child, if you will, in the financial services space, and they needed to compete more effectively. We liked the business model. We were familiar with the business model, and I have to admit that we didn't necessarily conclude that they were recession proof at the time. Didn't really know,
Mhm.
but we weren't just going to jump in. We did a lot of research. I mean, we went out and said, how many credit unions are out there over X amount of size? How many are in the US that are big enough to afford us? And we looked at that data and we looked at our own experiences and we said, this seems to make sense. Let's go for it. Okay. Now, in the early days, we were still bringing in other kinds of clients.
Mhm.
Okay. To kind of mitigate the risk factor. But then as we got successful with the credit unions, we said, well, this is working pretty well. There are a lot more of them out there. We know what we're doing. We know there's space and we know what works for them. Let's get more of them. Makes sense, right? Okay.
Sure.
All right. And then that continued, that success continued. And then at one point we said, okay, If somebody comes to us and they're not a credit union, we're going to refer them out. We're going to refer 'em elsewhere. We literally have turned down business outside of credit unions because we want to be so good at our craft. We want to be the best in the country at what we do for credit unions. And you can't be the best if you're splintered, if you're doing a bunch of other things.
You're diluted.
You're diluted. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the history behind that.
So one more question about niche, and I want to shift gears to some other stuff that's relatable to us and have some fun with you and everything too, like we always do on the Angry Ops Guy. So again, one thing that really you taught people in past years of your approach was you guys in really your peak were very, very aggressive in outbound reach.
Yes.
So outbound cold outreach. So one of the kind of adopters of building lists way before the days of how now Zoom info is literally in everybody's toolkit, but building lists, acquiring, buying lists, and so forth, and then attacking at volume. I remember that vividly. Now, with that being said, and this is another quick thing I've always battled with you, but I'd love to have your two senses. In the US, that works
Mhm.
because, what us in other countries, and I'm not going to speak for Europe or anything, I'm going to speak for Canada, is we have different legalities here.
Right.
Like we have castle legislature, which doesn't allow us to attack outwards. And we could be fined if we buy lists and so forth. So you got to be
Yeah.
very careful. Whereas the US, respectfully, even though there's compliance and laws and sort of, it is a little bit perceived as the Wild West
Yes.
still in just what you can do in outreach. So what would you say to other ICs, no matter size and scale, that want to do that, but feel that they have limitations because, like you said, I can't go and get 10,000 companies in X industry that I've done my research thinking it's viable for me to be a specialist. I just can't do it like Neal did. So what would you share with them that when they still want to focus on a niche, they want to focus on a vertical approach, knowing that it is successful, but they do feel that there are, we'll use the AI term, guardrails or handcuffs that limit their ability to attack outwards.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's a great question. Uh, what I would say is this: I would say that if you're going to do outbound prospecting, regardless of industry or regardless of whether you specialize or not, if you're going to do outbound prospecting these days, you better be special. You better have some special tools in your toolbox because you'll just be like everybody else. I mean, we can talk about like ABM type of prospecting, account based management, where you're focusing on a finite number of prospects, maybe 50, maybe 100. Okay. And you're going after them with a vengeance, so to speak, frequency. Okay. Or, you can make your way around some things and do some more mass prospecting. But if you're going to be out there doing outbound prospecting, you better damn well have something that makes you special, that makes somebody stand up and say, I've never heard that one before. That's kind of interesting. I'm curious about that. I want to explore that. Okay. So I would say the first thing, it's like Jack Welch, the former chairman of GE, said back in the 80s and 90s, if you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete. Get the hell out because you'll just be beating your head against the wall. So the first thing is decide who you're going to be, decide what's unique about you, and then capitalize on that with outbound, with LinkedIn content, with meta content, um, whatever avenues you have, promote that unique specialty you have because that's how you're going to cut through the noise.
Well, should we just mic drop it there, Neal, and make this the shortest episode ever? Because there's the proof in the pudding right there. No, I'm kidding. Um, Brilliant, and that's why you've been able to with your team that continues to grow. And like again, people should understand Neal's team is a powerhouse. He has, correct me, Neal, it's roughly 50 employees all working remotely across the US to kind
Correct.
of cover your geo target, correct? Right now,
Exactly. Yeah.
roughly?
Yes. Almost should we I think we maybe have 47 or 48.
But still, that's a massive amount of employees, and rightfully so to justify the size of your agency and revenue and what you need in your client base. But maybe shifting the gears a little bit about your team, and we know you have an absolute powerhouse, Chris Leone. Never had a chance to formally meet the man. I've seen him on camera once, but he has been your mainstay integrator for a long
Yeah.
portion of your career with your agency, and that's allowed you to take your focus off of the day to day and do more things as you've gotten older.
Yes.
Um, but how do you, when I say you, I mean you and Chris, but how do you handle a team of that size? Because look, having 50 people coming into the office every day, that's one thing. There's the bullpen, there's the cubicles and whatever, and that's the old days of work. But you guys went even more remote before COVID forced many of like myself. I know Denise Bowen and Jason's agencies made the shift around COVID as well, where we had offices right up until there, and then it's like, well, we don't need them anymore, and then team members change and we start to diversify outwards. But you had remote before even that. How the hell do you keep control of that? Because again, 50 employees, that's a lot of heads. I would just love to know, what you've learned and how you navigate it, because what you've also said to me recently in a moment of confidence where, a confidence that I needed from you and asking about a tricky situation I was going through is you kind of said to me, you said, Mike, you mentioned about what you're really good at, specialty and focus and everything, but you said, Mike, the really only advantage we have in this business is our people.
That's right.
And you have talked about that with anybody from two operators to, again, a scale of 50 like you have. So, talk to me about that, because your people are really the shining stars that allow you to be on stage for the awarded, be on stage to be recognized as a power player. It doesn't get done just because you're Neal Lappe or Chris Leone.
Right.
You have got a tremendous team of fulfillment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there are a few factors I would call upon in that regard. First of all, we've been remote forever. For 22 years, we've been remote. So it is
Have
part
you
yeah. So it's part of our
really?
culture. We've always been
Okay.
remote. Um, I remember back in, I don't know, probably 2007, 8, we made a conscious decision that we only have so much money. So let's spend money on people and not on real estate. Let's hire better people because we can pay them more versus paying a landlord rent. So we made that conscious decision. So that's always been our culture. Okay. The next thing is that just like generating business, if our people are our greatest competitive differentiation, then we've got to find the best people. And if you're going to find the best people, you got to have a competitive differentiation for employment. You can't be like everybody else because it's competitive out there for good people.
No
So
kidding.
we built so we built some competitive differentiation into our agency that enables us to pretty easily attract good talent. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing is, um, we have a good culture. It's a culture built on gear. It's growth. It's being essential. Um, being empathetic. Um, being accountable for each other, and doing what's right for our people and our customers. Okay, and we preach that all the time. We view our people as good, productive. They want to do a good job. They want to grow, and that's how we treat them. And then on the financial side, we have built fairly sophisticated productivity tracking models that are based upon time tracking. Everybody's got to track their time, and we don't tell people you got to track your time so we know if you're working hard enough. That's not the point. We say to them, we have to track time because we want to make sure we have enough people to service our customers. And so our people don't feel like they're being overworked. That's why we do time tracking. to make sure we have enough people so nobody feels they're overworked.
And it's such a key thing because, as we both know, despite different agencies and different tenures and whatever, burnout is a real thing
No,
in
oh my
agency
God, yeah.
life. And, I built this whole theme of the Angry Ops Guy, a large portion is around burnout.
Yeah.
The songs I generate, the things I talk about, everybody perceives me to always be burnt out, which I am. But it's true. It's, agency life, no matter what size your agency, but agency life is based on volume and
Yep.
pace.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking to somebody yesterday, no joke, Neil, and we were talking and saying, like, a lot of companies now, sadly, when I say sadly for agencies, because we want to keep our good people, but companies are poaching agency people
Yes.
because it's not even the skill set.
Yeah.
It's because they know how to work the grind.
Yes.
They know how to work the pace. They know how to work at volume. They know how to work on 20 accounts. And I think agency people that live and die in the trenches kind of thing, and they they're wired differently than the person that's
Yes.
like, "Oh my god, you want me to do 5 things this week? What am I gonna do with myself?" Whereas agency people do 5 things between 9 and 9:05 AM.
Yeah. With
So,
with 20 different kinds of customers.
with 20 different kinds of customers. And again, you wonder why you're mentally tapped midday, or why can I get through 90 days without feeling exhausted? I have to go to the beach because, like you said, kind of takeaways, because I always like to bring takeaways in here before we move to the next chapter of things I want to talk to you about. Like, so takeaways are vertical based marketing and being focused and intentional is really going to allow yourself to set yourself apart from everybody else that has the same shtick.
Yep.
Number two, is invest in good people and build a culture and a compensation package and processes that allow them to drive but also want to stay.
Yep.
And on top of that, if you do that, then you'll be like Neal Lappe, where on his mountaintop in Virginia, he barely has enough money, enough room to add more pads of money on top of it. So it's all good. And Neal's playing the whole humble, oh, Mike, you're an idiot, and so forth. But he's on camera. He's all his furniture and his couch and everything. The walls are all lined in gold. He's wearing gold. He's got gold everywhere. So this is all. Neal is all full of shit. Okay, he plays it off like he's just this novice little peon, but he is just full of the riches. But the key takeaway is be focused. I'm just joking with all that. Be focused. Be
Well,
intentional.
I am full of riches, and the riches are people like you
Oh,
and
stop.
others
Here we go. He turns it around like
and my
I'm a rich.
and my and my family and my faith, that those are my riches.
Yeah, Neil, by the way, look behind you. That door is open. I can see bricks of gold hanging out of the cupboard. So give me a break. By the way, U.S. tax man, you might want to go look at this guy named Lappy in Virginia. All right, let's shift gears here because that's a great kind of first piece about your agency and what your history and the success and what people can take away. But I want to take another kind of stab at some things because you know um, the age difference between you and I is only 8 years. Crazy to think.
Right,
Exactly.
right. 8 times what?
I didn't say it. You're 49, right?
A little bit older than that.
Okay. Well, 53. That's fine. So, but as you've made that foundation strong with your agency, and you've shared very openly, Leone is your business partner.
Mhm.
He is your succession plan.
Yeah.
And he's ultimately going to, with time and however you've done it, he will own your business
Yes.
in his journey to full agency ownership, which is just a wonderful story for people that are integrators like me, because that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
Is why start over if you can build a powerful relationship with your owner and partner, to be able to extend the legacy and continue to grow it.
Yes.
I've said very openly on the podcast, it would make me nothing happier or more joy in my life to know that my Peter, once he finally steps away from his focus on the business, that he will have the comfort knowing that his retirement is safe if I can provide that for him. That would be the greatest gift of giving back to me, is
Yes.
that he doesn't have to worry. because he gave me a chance 17 years ago when I was nothing, with a maxed out credit card, hoping that I would just get a job.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
So again, that's me waffling like Jack does, but the point what I'm going with it is, when as you have matured and not had to be so the focus of the agency,
Yeah.
that has allowed you freedom to pursue other endeavors. And I'm not going to focus on fractional CMO or whatever, but you shifted a lot of your focus into the WSI network.
Yes.
And whether that's your way of giving back or not, but you are instrumental in always being someone that will be a speaker. You will be the MC at convention. You will come to regionals for, across the world for different endeavors. You do all, if I understand correctly, you do majority of the new franchise onboarding training that they have to go through before they get out on the street.
Yes.
You want me to keep going? Like, you are invested everywhere. Um, why?
Okay. It's a very simple answer to that question, Mike. It's a good question too, and thank you for that.
Pity?
So back in earlier in my was back
Sorry, you completely waved over it. That's why I laughed. As you said, that's a very simple question. I said, pity?
no, 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 no. So back in my earlier days in my corporate world, I was blessed to have a mentor I worked for who
Mm.
believed in me and who gave me chances that I otherwise would have never gotten. And I really benefited a lot from that mentor I had. Okay. So as we found success and as I've gotten older, the whole thing about pay it forward. So I was blessed with a mentor and I wanted to make sure I passed that on to somebody else because really what I want and really the reason I do all this stuff for WSI is I want to help other people achieve their dreams for them and their families. That's why I do it. Because many of my dreams have been achieved. So I want others to achieve their dreams. And that's why I do it.
Well, like you said earlier, Neil, and you were very gracious to compliment me, which I hate compliments. I really do. It makes me uncomfortable. But you said you were very kind to say about this podcast initiative and the time and effort to go into it. And to your point, I don't think I will ever be you in the sense of a WSI role for people. I don't think I have the personality or personable skills to do that like you, because that's a very selfless job. You have to want to do that no matter who's in the room.
Yeah.
I've always said, I say to my mother all the time to make her laugh. I say, if you're paying me, I'll do anything. You want me to do something for free? I don't think so. I am motivated by money. My time is valuable.
Yeah.
But that being said, you hit it on the nail. This podcast is not an initiative to rub my ego or let's listen to, oh, cool, I sound cool on audio. It's my way. And when I started this at a conversation with Christina Pilarski at what was it? Was it Mexico? Or yeah,
Yeah.
it was Cancun. And she said that she would jump on for season one to put a cattle prod in me to do it. I said it has to have purpose. I don't want to just do something to do it. And the purpose that I identified is kind of similar to what you said is I didn't have one specific mentor, but I believe in, and because I do bleed navy blue WSI, and I've been like that my entire career. And you know how strongly I feel about the network. I I did not get to the level of stature, title, reputation, and everything on my own. There has been very smart people in WSI that have been kind enough to adopt me. Like I said, going back to 2013 at Boca Raton, when the first time Peter dragged me to convention, I didn't want to go because my brain wasn't not to
Right.
go. Who am I? It was Peter. I got projects. I'm a project manager,
Yeah.
just a project manager at the time. And I'm like, Peter, I got a deadline next week. I got this. I think it's better I stay here and work on the project. He goes, you're an idiot. Let's go. But what I didn't realize is he wanted me to see the power of the network.
Yeah.
And I saw it. But um, people like yourself, truly, my Peter Wisniewski, Chuck Bankoff,
Mhm.
Francois Muscat,
Yeah.
and I am missing a ton of people. Forgive me. Okay. Sorry. I got to say this because Chris Murray in Montreal will yell at me when he talks to me. Chris Murray and Lori, my my first friends in WSI outside of my office. So many people have taken this punk kid that was just a project manager and said, "Hey, come on, come sit at the table with us.
Yeah.
Hey, you're with Peter's crew, you're with us." And that there is how I was able to build confidence that I'm more than just some measly project manager that has no worth anywhere other than facilitating
Yeah.
projects.
Yeah, and my
And
yeah,
yeah, sir.
and Mike, you've delivered. I mean, I can't I've heard countless stories of people of other ICs coming to you and Commandex to do technical work because you guys have a reputation for doing it well and doing it, with decent speed. Okay,
Thank you.
so that's a gift back. This podcast, you've invested time to do a lot of things, and you as well are a frequent speaker presenter uh, because of the knowledge and experience and reputation you bring to the party. So we're kind of in that same crowd.
Well, and thank you. You kind of just hit the punchline of where I was going, and my reflection is, I think what you were saying about yourself and helping people achieve their dreams based on the fact that you feel very fortunate about what you've been able to achieve for yourself and for your company, is this is my very small way of paying it forward,
Yeah,
and I do believe in paying it forward because, you know, digital being in a franchise is a lonely, lonely position. Everybody looks at it, I'm going to drive the bus. I'm going to control my fate. But then it's you're like, what do I do once training's over? It is
yeah,
hard. And
yeah.
you know that better than anybody.
Oh
My
yeah,
Peter knows that. Um, so, who's going to help the new ICs? Head office can only provide so much education and certification, so the way I learned to expedite my progression was by sitting down with people like
sure.
you, sitting down with Chuck, getting assets. Remember, I tell you this day makes you laugh. You did some training course that you offered to the group, let's say 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And my Peter's like, you need to watch this. And at the time, ignorant, stupid, nah, I'm too busy. Whatever. Who's Neal Lappe? Who cares? And he goes, no, if anything, go watch this one chapter. I think it was chapter 7 about project management. He's got a kick ass lady over there that has this wonderful recording and some templates. So finally, I went and watched it. It took me 30 minutes to go through this. And it was like, again, this is Peter's Polish wisdom. It's like, I told you so, you dummy. But it's like, and I was like, look at this. Because, again, that took me on how to build better onboarding briefs, better understanding of the information we needed, how to navigate, how to structure it in teamwork or base camp and whatever. And you gave that. So if we don't do that, then what's going to happen to the next generation of people that don't have a Neal Lappe? Just because, again, here's the sad reality. And I'm not trying to be morbid. My Peter, Chuck, you, Francois, Chris and Lori, and others, that I'm talking the people that have built successful agencies for 20 plus years. You guys are all retiring. But you're tired. You've been doing this a long time, and it's time for you guys to enjoy that next chapter of life, like everybody deserves to after your work era.
Yeah,
So I've been blessed to have you guys help me through my first 17 years, but other people now that are just going to get a chance to shake Neal Lappe's hand or see who Peter Jasnewski is at a convention once a year are not going to get the quality time that I did. So I am the next generation,
yeah, you
and
are.
I would like to help those people exactly like you said, because you don't get to where you are without a lot of other people saying shoulder to shoulder, I'm with you.
Exactly.
And I think that's super important to anybody that's listening I talk so much about the WSI network, and some people say the network, or convention. I'm saying it not because I just drink the Kool-Aid, but that is the true differentiator of the WSI family
It is.
is the network. We can lean on each other. Like I just leaned on you last week for a matter in the agency that not that I couldn't go to my Peter or anything
Sure.
else. I did, but I wanted somebody objectively to help me based on your success, your growth, and your pain through that journey.
Hmm.
And I texted you, and it was like, Mike, I'll be available in 40 minutes. Like, where else are you going to get that?
Not only that, Mike, but I was in Vegas at the time on vacation.
Were you?
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Oh no, no, listen. Listen,
It would have been even better if you would have picked up on your phone and you're like, Mike, I'm at the roulette table. Hold on. It would have been amazing.
it would have been good, wouldn't it? Yeah, no, wasn't quite there. But as you said, we have to be side by side with each other, helping each other excel and succeed together.
So, Neil, as we start to wind down, because it's a Friday evening and you have grandkids and family and way more important things to do than Ops Mike over here, that's probably going to keep working, sadly. Um, so I want to ask you one more question before I'd like to try to end in a funny story to make you laugh and others, and you don't even know what's coming. That's the best part because and I'm just going to say this in randomness. I texted Neil an audio clip earlier. I'm like, I'm coming for you, Neil. Are you ready? And he's like, I was born ready, so you better be born ready. But um, again, based on where you're at in your career, even though you're not in the day to day, working in operations and everything, and Chris has got that on lock and he's doing a kick ass job. Shout out to Chris
Yep.
Leone, even though he doesn't know me other than a hole in the wall. Um, but with the changing ecosystem with now so much AI and everything else, how long are you going to keep doing this? And I don't mean that to be again, I mean that sincerely, like, you are someone that I think is enamored with people and just wanna be with your people and
Yeah.
be with the WSI network, but the reality is, you know, we're not going to have you forever, sadly, in the sense of just day to day work. So, do you have a clock of saying, like, if you put something on the calendar saying, I got 2 more years, I'm going to do what I'm doing and enjoying it. And then me and Peggy are really going to ride off into the sunset and enjoy what we want to enjoy? Or how are you looking at that now versus the Neal Lappe from 10 years ago?
Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, I love what I do, and I love the people I work with, including you, Mike, and others throughout the network, as well as our team of employees. So, I this is a hobby for me. I can fortunately,
Must be nice. Say they're Donald and Lappy. It's a hobby. While I'm over here just trying to survive the day.
well,
This is what I'm talking about. People look at the modesty. It's like, oh, it's a blessing. Oh, it's a hobby for me and whatever else. This man has no stress at all. That's what happens when like Neil. Are you even sitting on a computer chair right now? Or are you sitting on a brick of money?
I'm sitting on an office chair, Mike.
How much is that office chair?
I think I got it for $120. Um, but but so again, I love what I do. I love the people I work with. I'm an extreme extrovert, so I get my energy from other people, you know? And
So convention is your Kool-Aid, eh?
yeah, right, it is. And I don't know what I'd do if I wasn't doing this. Okay. And I'm a person that has to be productive every minute of the day other than sleeping. Okay. That's just how I'm wired. That's how you're wired. Okay.
Yep.
Having said that, I'm going to reassess in 3 years
Okay.
and then we'll see what happens then.
Well, you don't worry that no matter if you choose to retire and stuff, you're going to have like that unlimited pass to coming to convention because you're Don Juan Lappy. I will be at the airport to whenever you get white hair, because you don't have any, which is
I'm
amazing.
fortunate.
And I will push your wheelchair to convention for you, sir. So
Thank
don't
you,
worry,
Mike.
I'll be there. Um, to
I'd be a little scared to have you behind me pushing me, but we'll see.
Now, Peter said the same thing. So, I wouldn't trust myself, Christ. I'd whisper in your, "Hey, Neil."
Here we go.
Yeah, "Hey, Neil, verticalize this, pal."
Yeah, really.
Um, but so 3 years is a window and between health, energy, and whether you still have the passion for it, but that's how you see it. Because like I said, the day that you step away just from day to day and being that presence, um, I mean, I hope you accept this as a compliment, there will be a void.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you saying that, and I'll take it.
That's probably the only compliment you're gonna get out of me there, Lappy. Okay, so as we wind down here now it's time for a fun story
Okay, here we
because,
go.
this here we go, okay? And Neil doesn't have to say anything, it's my story. So, as much as I've known Neil for I think it's 2026, so let's say I've known Neil, well, for about 10 years. Before that, I had known the name, maybe met him once. But where me and Neil really hit things off was the convention, I want to say somewhere between 2014 and 2016, which was in Montreal. And in the Montreal one, so Neil came up to that one on his own. His lovely bride, Peggy, was not there. And so Neil was a solo duck. And so I'm up there, Peter's up there, Chris and Lori, obviously native to Montreal and so forth. My wife at the time, I think she was my girlfriend, Missy was there with us, and somebody else. Anyways, so the Montreal one was not an all inclusive because we weren't doing all inclusive at the time. So we had a nice hotel, convention center, and everything there. But you could go to dinners wherever you wanted in Montreal and so forth, and they had activities in the evening. Well, Neil's by himself, so Neil kind of sheepishly, and keep this in mind as I tell the story, kind of sheepishly with these innocent blue eyes. He's not a massively tall man or broad man, but he's got his hands locked together in front of him like this little sheepish, and he's like, "May I join you guys? I have no one for dinner." So obviously, my Peter and absolutely, Neil, come on in. So great. So we go to dinner and everything, and Neil's and tag along. And I don't know if you remember this, Neil. I'll send it to you after the recording. But I have a wonderful photo of all of us in Montreal together. We took a shot and we were walking back from the restaurant, and I have it still, and it's a great photo. And I was about 60 pounds thinner in that photo, so that's another reminder. This is what ops will do to you
Yeah,
and
really.
potato chips. So we go to dinner, we have a great dinner and whatever. But Neil is very like modest and so forth. And we all know he's successful, but I didn't know the extent of it. But he's doing really well in his business, but he's very, very humble. So we go to dinner, we come back, and we had a great time. The next day, so I got to spend this time with Neil, come back the next day, and we have the gala. And we go to the gala, and again, Neil's there, of course. And we go to the gala, and they're doing awards and this and that. Well, Obi-Wan Lappe over here just goes and cleans up. He wins an award for this. He wins an award for that. He wins the top earner. And that was the year, if my memory serves me correctly, he won the Nick Latanzio award. I believe that was it as well. So like Neil is like 120 pounds soaking wet. His luggage is 300 pounds with what he's taking back to Virginia. Um, but here's the point. So this sheepish, humble man in night one of just happy to have some dinner guests with him. Then he goes up there and same thing. I'm very blessed, thank you, and everything, and so forth. And I'm sitting in the back just stewing because I haven't won anything. I feel like I've been played by Neal Lappe. I think he played me to make me feel like he had just got brought on. And here's the real punchline. So I want to go up to Neil and shake his hand to say congratulations because he had a very impressive convention and his team and they cleaned house. And that's the biggest reward to anybody is to know that your peers and everybody have recognized you for your accomplishments. And then I look over to the right after he's coming off the stage and he's got a line. And the line is starting with the likes of maybe even Dan Monahan. No, I'm kidding. Relax, Dan. Don't send me a lawsuit. Um, he Don Juan Lappe is sitting in a chair, and everybody is kissing the gold ring one by one. I'm not joking. We got the most tenured people bowing to Don Juan Lappe, and that's when I realized that Neal Lappe is not the top earner. Neal Lappe is not successful. Neal Lappe is actually the godfather of WSI.
Well, Mike, I gotta reveal something.
Mhm.
Okay, just give me 2 minutes. Okay, so
Sure.
when you brought up the Montreal convention,
Uh-huh.
th- I don't think anybody knows this, and I'm comfortable now sharing it. So we're at the gala, right? And we're all having a good time and stuff like that. And I've decided to have a good time that night. So
Uh-huh.
I was not shy about getting to the open bar. Okay.
Mhm.
So after a couple hours and after a couple of drinks, suddenly they start doing the awards. And that's the year that I won the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
I had
Sauce.
I had to work very hard to walk up to that stage like I was together and do something that didn't make a fool of myself. I had to consciously, intentionally do that.
Because that's not just an award saying best website or best marketing. That's like the coveted award of WSI that pays tremendous respect to one of us at head office that unfortunately lost their life to a
Yeah,
really poor terminal illness. And his brother Dan Latanzio is an avid part of head office still to this day. But you ever want to have a humbling moment, come to a convention when the speaker talks about why that award was created initially. And there's only been a handful of really great people that have been accepted to be recipients of that. But it is, in my opinion, it's like the most prestigious award of the night. It beats top
sure.
agency, it beats top growth because of what the meaning is. So to your point, that's not the one you want to go up and be like, "Thanks everybody, have a good night." You know, that's
Exactly.
or the three steps you got to go up to the stage and you catch your foot and you go ass over tea
Exactly.
kettle. So
Exactly,
so
Mike. So because I remember walking off that stage going, "Phew, I made it."
yeah, and then everybody's like, Godfather Lappy, please come sit here, sir." He's got like a fan wafting him aside. He's got some lady feeding him grapes, and everybody's just kissing the Don's ring. So be careful of this Lappy guy. He's going to come in his navy blazer and his khaki slacks and his loafers, and he's going to look sheepish, like he doesn't know anything and he's just observant. But this man could end your life. That is how powerful Neal Lappe is. Don't mess with him. Governor of Virginia, top dog, godfather of WSI. And I have had the absolute privilege to have him on the podcast because he is one of my friends. He's one of the people that accepted me to be part of the WSI group. And I hope and know that that friendship will continue for years to come, no matter where you are, how old you are, and what you're still doing in WSI. And again, that's the power of the network. Is who would have thought some punk kid at the time when I met you, I would have been 30 years old, can say as going into my 41st year this year, the type of friendships I have with people of all different shapes, sizes, colors, and also successes in this industry. That's the real power of the network. And that's why you got to get to convention. That's why you got to get to regionals. That's why you got to get on anything that's being, they say, register for, because it's the people. Remember what we said earlier with Neal talking about the reflections of his agency? The people are the difference.
Mhm.
Want the real difference in WSI, if you're sitting there saying, "Why the hell did I buy an agency?" The people. So make sure you invest in the people, make sure that you get to know the people, and make sure you put yourself out there to the people, because you never know who's going to say, "Hi, I'm so and so, and do you want to be my friend?" And that's what we're here for. So, Neal,
Mike,
as we wrap up here,
I
really quickly.
yeah, Mike
Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
let me
Sorry.
interrupt you for a second.
Yeah, please.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna give you the last word because 'cause you're
yeah.
host. I'm gonna give you the last word. But I wanna
Well, I
take a
hope so.
moment to sincerely thank you for your friendship, and thank you for the time you've given me today. I hope I've shared some things that will help others excel and achieve their dreams for their families, and I appreciate you giving me the time to do that, and I appreciate your time as well.
Well, I'm just so pleased that someone like you would want to come on and talk with an idiot like me. That's basically, you knew you were going to get in the slaughtering line, but I kept it respectfully disrespectful.
That's
So
right.
you
Always.
did all right. So, Neal, before I wrap up here, for anybody that's listening that doesn't know you as intimately as I do, and so forth, is there any channels online and so forth that people can connect with you, like LinkedIn or whatever else that you wish to just share with them, so that they can have conversations or they can connect with you, to talk shop or to get guidance or wisdom?
Yeah. So 2 things. First of all, if you're in the WSI network, LinkedIn is the best place to connect. Well, I'm sorry. No, no, no. Let me say it a different way. If you're in the WSI network, if you've got an email from me, my calendar link is in my signature file in the email. Just book a time. I'm happy to talk with you. If you're outside the network, LinkedIn is the place to go.
There you go. And also, so Neal Lappe, Lappe, Find him on LinkedIn. There's only one Neal Lappe, and you'll know it as soon as you see him. Um, Also, Neal, would you like to share? So you were talking about Gear. Have you? I should have asked this earlier, but have you guys in your rebranding? Do you have the domain for Gear yet, or are you still working off of WebStrategies?
Gear, Gear.io.
So that's for everybody. www.gear.io is where you can find the rebranded WebStrategies, Neal Lappe's franchise. Go take a look at them and see what they're doing in their specialty. And for us over here, we are the Angry Ops Guy. We are available on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. We're dropping bi-weekly new updates. Got a great list of guests coming after Neal here still, and new ones coming every 2 weeks. Also dropping new op songs of my way of my therapy and ranting and raving. So take a look at Spotify or Apple Music or iTunes or wherever you get streaming music for Ops 285, my moniker pop punk band of basically stupidity. But that's the way I'm learning AI and I'm having fun doing it. So too bad. Go listen to it. But we'll be back with new guests. And what a great way to end a Friday afternoon. Neal, love you. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mike. Take care.
Sorry, Ops Mike, your email went to junk.